Okay, guys, so this video, sorry, my hair is driving me nuts. This video is going to cover the next two slides, slides 4 and 5. And I want to talk a little bit about the history of this concept. Who came up with this whole internet addiction thing anyway? Let's get into that so you have a little bit of a background. In 1996, a researcher by the name of Kimberly Young first published a case study, right? So case study is an in-depth, detailed analysis of a small group of people or even just one person. And in this case study, she focused on a 43-year-old woman who was addicted to email. And in that case study, she details why this use of email, in her professional opinion, could be considered addictive in nature. She followed that up because that was sort of provocative to her to get a sense of how pervasive is this, how many other people are experiencing this problematic use of email or other internet type of activities. So she then did the first internet addiction study, first really recognized internet addiction study in 1998. She collected data from approximately 600 people who suffered problems in their everyday lives as they reported them, because in their offline life, they were having disruptions because of their life online, and they were unable to control their use of the internet, and that was creating problems in their offline daily living. So then after that, research, right around the same time really, research started to grow on this concept of internet addiction, not only in the US, but in Europe as well. And one of the sort of seminal, as we call it, or first important papers on technological addictions was published by a researcher named Griffith in 1995. And that was followed by a paper on internet addiction more generally, discussing what it is, what it involves, why some professionals consider it addictive, even though it's something we use in our daily life. Griffith published that in 1996, and then even discussed in another publication in the same year specific types of internet addiction. So beyond just general internet addiction, specific manifestations of that in particular uses of the internet, such as internet gambling. Now, in 2017, so this is slide 5, by the way, 2017, that same research article from 2017 I mentioned in the first video by Mihailov and Vermelka, that review article, they review some of the early data and how internet addiction started to be more specifically conceptualized. And so based on empirical data from larger groups of people, Young, that researcher I mentioned who really got the ball rolling in this field in 1999, viewed internet addiction as a kind of overarching umbrella term for multiple different kinds of behaviors and impulse control problems that could be divided into 5 subtypes. 5 subtypes. 1, cyber sex, cybersexual addiction. Now, you know a little bit about that from my discussion of sex addiction, right? Cybersexual addiction, compulsive use of adult websites for cyber sex and cyber porn. Porn? Do you guys notice that every lecture I coin bizarre words? Cyber porn. There we go. Number 2, cyber relationship addiction. These are people who are compulsively involved in cultivating online relationships, sometimes romantic, sometimes friendships, but they're spending all of their time doing this. Internet compulsions is the 3rd category. This refers to multiple behaviors such as online gambling, online shopping, or even day trading. So that involves actually stocks and financial kinds of decision making to try to earn money. Unfortunately, sometimes it involves a loss of money, which influences people's stability in life. Number 4, what the Young referred to as information overload. Information overload, which she defined as compulsive web surfing or database searches, meaning people are spending hours upon hours upon hours a day online looking through different databases for information about whatever, or online websites looking at whatever. but it's consuming all their time. And finally, the fifth and final category is computer addiction. Obsessive computer game playing. Now, we're going to come back to this later in class today because video game addiction in particular has received some interesting attention in recent years as a subtype of problematic internet addiction. In 2001, a researcher by the name of Davis proposed a theoretical and cognitive, basically it was a theoretical, cognitive, and behavioral model of pathological internet use. And this model kind of separated the addictions to the internet that are more general versus those that are more specific. So really two categorizations here for thinking about internet addiction. One, what Davis referred to as generalized problematic internet use, and two, what Davis referred to as specific problematic internet use. And so generalized was sort of a multidimensional, meaning there are various different ways in which the internet is being used, and it's not confined to any specific compulsive online activity. And that means the person might go from compulsive online shopping to compulsive online relationship cultivation, etc., etc. The specific problematic internet use is pathological indulgence in an online behavior for a specific reason or specific application. So, for example, that could be just cyber sex or just obsessive online gambling and so forth. Okay, so I'm going to talk more about this shortly, but let's end there.